Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Let's have a conversation. Oh, yeah. Look. Yeah. Hey. Let's have a conversation. Woo. Pick up some gems, life is all you make. Go. We keep it real, we don't talk to fake. Tell them hottest talk show on the net, coming for all the mates. Let's have a conversation. Woo. Pick up some gems, life is all you make. Go. We keep it real, we don't talk to fake. Tell them hottest talk show on the net, coming for all the mates. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Let's have a conversation.
Hello, everyone. This is Michelle Biggs, CEO of My Best Everyday Coaching and Consulting, and host of Real Conversations with Michelle. Thank you to all of you who are watching this live recording of my video podcast tonight. And for those of you who are new to my platform, I am a Master Certified Life Coach, as well as an Associate Certified Coach through the International Coaching Federation. I started this podcast in 2020 during the pandemic with the goal of trying to help people through all the things that we know was chaotic in 2020. And it's been going strong ever since, everyone. And my goal for this podcast is to talk about a variety of topics with the hope that something that's shared, you'll be able to apply in a positive manner for yourself or in support of someone else. So tonight's topic is living your dreams, and it's a part 2. And part 1, I had the mayor of Butner, North Carolina, Dr. Linda R. Jordan, and she talked about her journey of living her dreams. She is also a fellow coach. So we provided some tips during that conversations and some lessons learned. And I have joining me tonight 3 people who are very special to me. And I'm going to introduce them one by one, let them tell you a little bit about themselves. And then we're going to get into the questions, y'all. Hopefully you've seen their bios. If not, I'll just have them talk a little bit about who they are and what they're doing currently. So first up, I'm going to bring Miss Miyochi. Hi, Miyochi.
Hi,
Miyochi Ratliff.
Michelle.
How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. And y'all, I'm checking to make sure the way StreamYard is doing now, you got to start your events on each of the pages. So I'm going to check, but I want you to introduce yourself, Mickey. Tell people what you do, who you are, and what you do.
Okay. So, first of all, I see you have Miyochi Ratliff on the screen. So, I
Yeah.
am Miyochi Ratliff, but people do call me Mickey. Actually, most people know me as Mickey now. I am an implementation project manager for a cloud-based PAC provider. But let me back up a little bit. First of all, I'm a proud wife of my husband, who's been very supportive of 32 years. And we have 3 children, 3 adult children. And then they are all married, of course. We also have 4 grandchildren with 1 on the way. I have my degree in business administration. I'm a certified scrum master and registered dental assistant. So
And go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Mickey. Go ahead,
No, I
finish.
was just gonna say what I've already told you what I'm currently doing, but I spent more than 20 years working in the dental industry. Currently, I'm in the healthcare industry, so I am the one that had the career change.
Yes. And thank you. And we'll get a little bit more into what was the catalyst for you making that change in a minute. Next up, Miss Tabitha Lewis. Tabitha, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tabitha. I'm a business tax strategist. What I do is I help small business owners and corps be able to navigate through tax matters, make sure things are in compliance, as well as help with business growth and implementing in different goals that they're trying to reach, such as maybe they're having, employee turnover and they want to see how they can help resolve those type of issues. I am also a mother of 5. I have 3 girls and 2 boys. Now I have 2 adult children. It's a different style life. And now I'm about to almost have another adult child.
Yes.
Two pretty much are underage. And pretty much in a nutshell, that's what I do. I love what I do. I love to see results. I love to see growth and different things of that nature. I'm also a coach slash consultant. So sometimes people want to just hire me for my brain, and I
Mm-hmm.
help them with those solutions as well too. So pretty much that's me, Tabitha.
Thank you, Tabitha. And I'll also have you share your journey as well. Because I've met all of y'all some years back. I think this gentleman I'm about to introduce, I've known him the longest because we worked together. I met him right out of college, my first job right out of college. So, Alonzo,
Yeah.
tell my people a little bit about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, peace and blessings to all the family out there and to the distinguished panel. Again, my name is Alonzo Thomas. I met Michelle back in 1988. I'm
Ooh,
not
you
going to
tell me
go
the
any
years.
further than
Woo.
that. I am currently the co-founder, along with my wife and my youngest daughter, of Manifest Apparel. This is a newly established apparel business where we offer streetwear and casual wear. It's e-commerce. So it's about 6, 7 months right now that we're into it. I'll give you a little bit more as that moment comes up. Also, I am a father, grandfather, and son and husband of, like Sister Mickey, 33 years married, 40 years together, 4 children.
All right. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for sharing information. And for those of you who want to learn a little bit more about them, you can check out their bios on my page. And I'll also share some information tomorrow, post this podcast. So if you want to contact them, you can do that. So, my first question, y'all, what was the catalyst for you doing what you're currently doing now? So what was it that made you step into this space? Because I feel like I know, Miyoshi, you're living your dreams in terms of what you've been doing. Tab, I remember when I met you, you were in career transition as well. And Alonzo, your story probably resonates with a lot of people in terms of what was a catalyst for starting your business. So I'll start with Tab first. Tab, you're on mute.
So what pretty much got me to the space I'm in now is pretty much I was raised by a business serial entrepreneur with my mother. So pretty much business wasn't new to me from young as 10 years old, running my first business, going into being a business consultant today is not really surprising. When I first went into business, I was just had met Miss Michelle right after I had closed that business, and I
Lord,
realized it
oh,
wasn't the business
she
for
called me
me.
Miss Michelle, y'all. Lord, okay. Go ahead,
I'm
Tab.
sorry.
You good, you good. Yo, go ahead, girl.
When I met Miss Michelle, she was she helped me with career change pretty much because I was like, Michelle, I need something different. I need to see something different. She helped me to see my skill set, and she was like, you need to transition more into your skill set. So what ended up happening is at first I was looking for a career in it, like a job, somewhere I could start in a corporate somewhere, and I end up transitioning into my own business because I kept getting people to be like, hey, I need some help here. And next thing I know, it just started growing organically. And that's how we have got to be THL out here now and helping other business owners. So that's pretty much how I transition into what I'm doing today.
Yeah, because I mean,
And I just keep enhancing my skill set on top of that.
yeah, because when I met you, I think you had, I don't know if you just got your MBA, but I remember you had your MBA, but you really weren't leveraging
Yes, when we
all your
met
knowledge and
back
skills.
in, I think it was 2018,
Mm-hmm.
2019, I had already had my MBA and I was trying to, the goal of getting the MBA was to get a high paying job. That was my goal from the beginning when I entered into school. It didn't work that way. So I didn't fuss a bit. I didn't cry about it. I just went on ahead and started utilizing what I knew. In my master's of project management, I just took it and project myself to
Yeah,
get into
absolutely.
a business today to help others. So
Yes.
they are all my clients that I work with are getting that good old skill set.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had so many other expertise from, like you said, from other things that you've done. And the fact that
Yes,
you're able
yes.
to demonstrate that via your business is a testament to how great you really are. So, Alonzo, why don't you tell people about yourself? What was the catalyst for you to start your business?
Uh, Really, it was the economy. I've
Hmm.
always had the thought in my mind, but my thought was, once I retire, I'll jump back in to the entrepreneurial space. But it was I want to say that would have been the fourth or fifth layoff.
Mm,
So I've been in layoff purgatory. And
yeah,
I said, okay, that's it. The next time I lose in the employment space is going to be based on my success or my failure with a business.
right.
And that's what kicked it off for me. I was just so done at that moment with thinking I'm gonna ride this to 65 and,
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
that party and get that watch.
Right.
So I was like, "Okay, that's enough of that. Let me go ahead and try this now because you don't know when you're gonna no longer be here." So I don't look
Hmm.
at it as I'm running out of time or I'm quote unquote old. So I said, "Let
Hmm.
me just go on and get back into it."
Yeah, and having that other set of income. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs. I know I started when I had a full time job, and that helps to give people some comfort financially. So, thank you for sharing your story, Mickey. Mickey or Tab? I'm losing. Who? Mickey, you're next.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So it was totally different for me. As you know, I had to hire you as my, not had to, but I had the
Mm,
pleasure of hiring you as my career coach.
yes.
I actually was in a really bad headspace at the time. I had spent 18 years working as a remote employee for a corporate company, and I had began to feel very isolated. I was losing social skills. I had lost my self-confidence because I felt very isolated in my company, and I didn't feel like I was growing. So I happened to share my story with a very dear friend of ours, and she said, "You've got to talk to Michelle. Michelle is starting her coaching business,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you guys, she could help you." And it was just wonderful. It really changed my life. So, the catalyst of me looking at what I'm doing today, you had me to look backwards. You had me to look at all of my skills and actually hone in on my the strengths that I had, my abilities that I had, and the things that I had done before. How could we bring all of that together and move forward into what I thought that I wanted to do, which is what I'm doing now, which I am
Yeah.
really enjoying. I've been doing this for 14 months now.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited because everything that you said really is what I take my clients through who are looking to change careers. And a lot of
mhm,
times it's about acknowledging your passion and what you really want to do. Because there's a
right,
lot of times we're doing things and we may not like doing it's a job, right? You may not
right.
like doing it. Um, but when you're able to work in your passion,
Mhm,
that's what brings people joy,
right.
right? And through that, and I'll have you talk a little bit about the process because one of the things that you did, and I encourage a lot of people to do, is networking when you're looking to transition to network, right?
Mhm,
Which quite frankly, I'll tell y'all, a lot of people are just not comfortable doing it. You got to get out of your comfort zone because you never know who may be out there that may have a connection to someone who may have an opportunity for you, right?
mhm.
So why don't you talk a little bit through sort of your some of the things that you did to set you up for success.
So first, I had to do research. I mean, I needed to make sure that my skills aligned with what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to do project management because one, I was already working with um, professionals, doctors. As I was traveling, I was going to oral surgery centers, clinics, and universities, talking with students and surgeons themselves, training them on software. So I spent a lot of time in that space, and I was very confident. So I felt like I needed to look at all of the experience I had and then just see what my strengths were. So I knew I wanted to work in an environment where I could plan. I could actually work with someone and scope out their goals and then help them get to their goal and track the process along the way. So those were the key things that kind of made me realize that, okay, project management is where I want to go. Even though I didn't have a degree in that, I had a degree in business administration, had worked as as a practice administrator. So I had the experience, but I didn't have the confidence to step out there
Mhm,
and do it. You had me to speak with some people who were already in that space and
mhm.
just kind of, I had to do a lot of research, and it took me about a year before I actually did step into my current role.
Yeah. Yeah, and you like I said, you're like so many other people who are transitioning. If you're looking to do something totally new, you have to do your research. You need to talk to people so that you understand what is it,
Yes,
because sometimes what you think it is may not be what it is,
absolutely.
right?
Yes,
So being able to
absolutely.
talk to people so you understand, okay, what does this really mean and how can I leverage the skills that I currently have
Mhm.
to land a role and what skills you might have to pick up, right? To further progress. And you've been doing that. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Tab, how about you? What do you attribute to the keys to being successful? What were some of the things that you did?
Well, first, I had to just reevaluate my life as well as the direction I wanted to go in. I had to get that organized. I had to understand who Tab was. And once I understood that and aligned it with my family, because I'm a single mom, of course, I have to make every decision based on that. So then I looked at it, I said, okay, God, how can I align the career of what I want and please you at the same time and also be able to be present for my children? And
Mhm.
that's pretty much how I got here. Because this is
Mhm.
the only thing I could think of that got me there. But what lined me for success was planning. I always plan. I
Mhm.
plan and then I put in action steps, and I actually put attainable action steps. So
Mhm.
once I know I'm hitting that first action step, I'm going to two, and then I'm hitting this goal. So just like I help others, I help myself first. Being able to hit those goals, and that's really what keeps me, organized and
Mhm.
growing at the rate I am. Because I'm
Yeah.
always planning. Like my planner, my calendar, that's my other
Mhm.
Bible. If it's
Mhm.
not written
Mhm.
down, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So
And Tab, you speak
that's
my
pretty
language as
much
a
what helps me.
coach because I'm big with planning and
Mhm,
setting smart goals, right? Setting
yes.
goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And for some people, it may seem like a lot. So I always tell people do it in the way that best suits you, but write it down because that
Mhm,
will help you to stay on track with
Mhm.
what you're trying to do. And you can always go back to it to say, is there something I might need to adjust and pivot?
mhm.
Right. So whether you call it SMART goals or something else, I do think, and Mickey, I think you use SMART goals
I
too,
did.
right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I still do.
yeah, it is. I tell you, it really is for those who want to stay on track and be accountable. When you don't write it down, you can be all willy-nilly in terms of how you
Mhm.
go about it. It's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to this person whenever, what have you. But it really does help you to stay on track with what you're trying to accomplish. So I
Mhm.
will greatly encourage people to write it down, make a plan, and then have someone who can hold you accountable to that as well,
That's
whether it's a
another
coach,
key.
right? It could be a coach or it could be a friend or it could be a spouse, whoever that is, but hold you accountable to that. Alonzo, how about you? So you set up a apparel business. What were some of the things you did to set you up for success?
Um, Considering that I had attempted for many years to become an entrepreneur, one of the things that I had never done was sought the assistance of a mentor.
Mm,
I've always run and read books and always believed every table should stand on its own legs. So I'd read the book and go ahead and try and do it and would consider my sense of accomplishment as I got the store open. I got this
mm,
done, but not really the level of success that I needed to attain. The bottom line was I really wanted to earn my living through that business. So mentorship was really big. In the
yeah.
last year and a half, I've had 4 mentors. Um, and you had to seek people who are in the space that you were entering into that had been there and done it.
Yeah.
They had already been successful there, and they can teach you how to fail fast and fail forward and
Mhm.
learn and not let your missteps become your final step, but let
Mhm.
them become a stepping stone. So mentorship was really big. The next thing, being a child that was an only child for 15 years, you kind of have ideas and you own them and you marry yourself to them and you don't want no one else touching your little baby idea. I
Mhm.
had to learn how to delegate. So I
Yes. Yes.
recruited my wife and my daughter and my son, and I said, "Hey, I need your help. I'm not going to wait until the water is up to my lip. I'm going to
Mhm.
call you and let you know that I need your help." And I asked them to help me out with various aspects on the back end of the business, so that way I can free myself for the things that fit who I am, what my
Mm.
skills and gifts are communication and the creative space. I've always been a creative and a communicator, but
Mhm.
being an only child, you're so used to doing everything that I had
Yeah.
to let go of that and say, "Hey, they're here, let them help."
Mhm.
And I turned it into a family business. So adding others and getting a mentor was big for me.
Yeah. Tab and Mickey, did you guys have mentors as well?
That's when he said mentor, that is what got me here. And Miss
Mhm.
Miss Michelle was my first mentor out of college. So
Mm.
starting with I'm sorry,
No, you
Michelle.
good, you good, you good. You good. I'll own it.
Starting
I'll
with
own my
Michelle,
space. Mhm.
I started with her, just understanding what that career was, the career that I wanted first. And then from there, I just kept adding on mentors. And especially when you're dealing with mentors that do exactly what you do on a higher level, it helps you to excel a lot faster. So
Yeah.
definitely what he says, mentoring,
Yeah. Mickey, how about you?
coaches and consultants, all of
Yeah,
them. You everybody.
absolutely. You need a village. You need a village.
You
We
really
can't do
do.
this stuff alone. Um, Mickey, what about you?
And I have to say, Michelle, you were my coach, but of course, you became my therapist during that session and my
She's right
mentor.
on
But
it.
I have to say, I have to say,
Ooh-wee.
Tabitha, I'm looking for Tabitha to be my mentor from this point on because
Yeah.
she certainly
BMP, let me tell
she
you,
has all the
this
skills.
woman is doing some things. I went and looked at her page. I was like, "Woo, she's doing it." Yeah,
Yeah,
but a
yeah.
mentor is very it's key. And I think, and Alonzo, you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but understanding your why and being able to seek the guidance of other people, but you still have to hold true to what it is that you want to do, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
people can have opinions about, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But being able to do it in an authentic manner, doing it the way that you authentically want to show up is very important, right? So it's okay to listen to people and seek advice to people, but don't lose yourself. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is people will see others who have done things, and when it doesn't happen the way you think it should happen, then you get deterred from moving forward, right? And you don't want to do that. So balance the feedback that you're getting, but also understanding your why, so you know the direction of travel you want to go. Tab, did you want to say something?
Yeah, because that can take you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down, especially when you got two or three coaches that do the same thing or
Mhm.
mentors that do the same thing and they're coming at you, you're getting confused, you're feeling overwhelmed. You're like, you know what, forget this. I'm going to get a job, especially if you're a business owner. But you have to interview your mentor before you work with that mentor. Just because they have a track record of this and you've seen that this happened with this other business, it needs to be customized back to your desires and what
Yeah.
you are willing to be okay with. And that's the first thing I do before I mentor or help anyone. I'm like, what is it that you want to do? What is
Yeah.
it that will make you happy? And if you're not happy, then you can hire 100 mentors. You got to get to what makes you happy first. So
And Tabitha,
definitely a lot of mentors is
Yeah.
sometimes a bad thing,
Yeah.
depending on who. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mickey,
and
you're gonna say
Michelle,
something.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry, Alonzo, you go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to just say that, you know, Tabitha, just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Michelle was really good about not giving me any advice and telling me what it is. Like, she didn't give me any answers. She made me actually think about what it was that I wanted. She asked the
Mhm.
questions, and I really had to do the work. I mean,
Yeah.
there were times that I would say to my husband, "I'm paying her, but she hasn't really told me anything to do."
That's the role of
It's
a coach.
already in
But
you.
It is.
yeah,
That's the
it
role
was
of a
in me, and
coach.
she pulled it all out of me. You're exactly right. So
And
it
let me,
was
and
wonderful.
yeah, and let me tell you something. This is what I say to people when you're hiring a coach. Understand the role of a coach, understand the role of a mentor. And typically, when I'm talking to people, I will ask permission to step into that space, especially if I feel like you're getting really, really stuck, right?
Mhm.
But the role of a coach is to ask you great questions
Yeah.
so that you can figure it out yourself. If a coach can't ask you those great questions, then you have to ask yourself, okay, is this person really a coach? Or is it something else? And it could be that they are a mentor, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Mhm.
But when you're hiring a coach, you're hiring someone who's going to know how to get things out of you so you can start to see the landscape. So you're going through your own self-discovery of understanding the landscape so that you can make you can make the best decision for yourself, right? I can't make that. A coach should not be making that decision for you, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to own those
Yeah.
decisions for yourself, right?
Mhm.
And you're more likely to deal with the bed that you lay in if you know that you laid in it yourself. Otherwise, you'll start to blame other people,
And not
right?
repeat the things that you've done in the
Exactly.
past. Absolutely.
Exactly. Alonzo, what were you gonna say?
I wanted to just add on to what the sister said in regards to mentors. One of the things that I did across all my mentors was make sure their life value system was congruent with mine. Every
Absolutely.
one of my mentors had a foundation of a spiritual base
Mhm.
because that's what created a certain level of heightened trust
Mhm.
beyond the money aspect of it, but that they actually cared that I finally got it. And it
Right.
wasn't just a money grab and you giving us a bunch of motivational quotes and then you on your way and I'm still at point zero.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
the value system of all my mentors was an actual spiritual background, knowing that what they do in the dark, they know will come to light. So they were
Mhm.
very upfront and
Mhm.
transparent, and came from a scriptural reference. And they also, even though they were called mentors, and you kind of look at a mentor as someone that's bringing you things constantly.
Okay, did we lose him, y'all? Can y'all
I
hear?
don't hear him.
Who lost his
Okay.
audio?
He is going too.
Alonzo, your audio is a little off. Can you hear us, Alonzo? Yeah, check your audio. Yeah, you're talking, but we can't hear you.
He was
We'll
getting
we'll
good
get him
too.
back. Yeah, he was getting in. Yeah. Come back in. Check your plug. Make sure you're in. Yeah, go out and come back in. Yeah, because he was going in there. But I do think
Mhm.
one of the things that he did say is understanding the value system, right? Which is
Yes.
important. And one of the things I tell people, no matter who you hire, it's like going to the doctor. You want to make sure that person
Mhm.
has a good connection with you, right? So I tell people, even
Mhm.
if you're looking at coaches, interview a couple of them, right? Because you
Mhm.
want to make sure there's a good fit.
Mhm.
Also, one of the things that I do is I will always check in with my clients to say, okay, what's working and what's not working, right?
Yes.
Because I want to make sure you're getting out of our partnership what you really need from it,
Mhm.
right? And if I need to pivot, I will, right? Because ultimately, it's about what you want, not what I want, right? So that's an important piece, y'all. If you're working with people, your mentors, whoever you are, bring it into your inner circle. Talk to a couple people to make sure that there's alignment. All right, Alonzo, you were about to go. You were going in, brother. You still there? You
He
there?
had
Can
the
you hear
hand
us?
motions and everything.
You're on. Okay, we can't hear you. So I don't know. Like your audio's going off. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Take your headset off and check your audio settings and see if that'll help. Yeah, because you might have become unplugged somewhere. I don't know what that is. Yeah. The other thing is if you have a phone, join in with your phone because that might help as well. Okay. All right. We will revisit what Alonzo has to say. Um, some of y'all were talking about some lessons. I think Tab, you were talking about some of your lessons. So let's go into a little bit of that. Your lessons learned in terms of your journey.
Ooh, that's that's a whole encyclopedia book. We talking about lessons. So what I would say, what I do with my lessons. So every time I go through a situation that's challenging, I breathe first. I
Mm-hmm.
sit down and I say, okay, why am I in this challenge? And I also take away why that challenge came or why I had to learn a lesson. Because sometimes when we are learning lessons, it's because it's something we need to correct within ourselves. And if that
Mm.
same thing just keeps coming back at you, God is
Mhm.
really tuning in just to see, hey, I need you to correct this so I can get you to the next level. And once you understand that, those lessons and challenges, they get more at ease because I tell everyone, you're gonna go through stuff, especially if you
Mhm.
keep asking for more and more. You gotta pretty much build that muscle around it too. So
Mhm.
it's to the point like when challenges come at me, I actually get happy. I'm like, okay, challenge,
Mhm.
let's battle today,
Mhm.
but in the
Mhm.
name of Jesus.
Yeah. Ooh-wee.
But
Yes.
that's what I do with my challenges. I don't
Mhm.
let them take me because
Mhm.
it's certain things that you can control and fix, but it's also things that you need to leave alone and let it fix itself or give it up. So pretty much that's how I deal with my challenges. Because
Yeah, and let me
I'm a
tell
mom
you.
at the end of the day. Kids come at you with challenges daily.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing of it is, none of us are perfect, right? Not
Hmm.
one of us is perfect, and if you live in this world long enough, you're gonna have some opposition coming at you,
Hmm.
right? So, needing to be prayed up for those of you out
Yes.
there who or spiritual, whatever you want to call it, having a connection, whatever, staying prayed up and having a inner circle. For me, I am so blessed to have an inner circle of people. I call them my advisory team for all things
Hmm.
my company. But when I need to really need to bounce some things off of folks because of whatever I'm going through, I know I can call on them and they help to keep me grounded. So
Hmm.
it's important to do that. Alonzo,
Yeah.
Okay, we
hey,
can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
we can hear you
Hallelujah.
now. Yeah. Look, what did you have to say, bro? Continue your thought process
Do you
around.
recall where I cut off?
We were talking about, I think we were talking about mentors and the value system, having a good value system,
Oh
having
yeah,
being
Okay.
aligned. Yeah.
foundation.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Then it
yeah,
got good.
I
Yeah.
had to
You were
I
going
had to
in.
make sure that when I got my mentors, their values aligned with mine because I didn't want a mentor that was all about the money and the money grab. I wanted to feel like they were fully vested and
Yeah.
not just making
Mhm.
this a business successful, but they also we had like a church Thursday in
Okay.
our classes where we just dealt with who we are.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
people don't generally buy your products, they buy you out of the
Yeah.
trust
Mhm.
and the belief
Yes.
in what you're gonna present to them. So, you can get in your own way. At the end of the day, when you wake up, it's you versus you every day, all day.
Amen.
And they were helping develop that in that manner, and what I was going in to say was, they were educators beyond what you think of as a typical mentor,
Right.
because I was saying I believe the root word of educate is educare, which
Okay.
means to bring out.
Go ahead,
So when you
brother.
educate, you're not indoctrinating. You're supposed to bring out of someone their gifts,
Mhm.
because the
Yeah.
scripture says, "Let your gift make a way for you." Well,
Yeah.
if you're not put in the right environment, if the seed isn't dropped in the right soil, no matter what water you put on it, you're not going to get out of it what you
That's
deserve.
true. Mhm.
So I had to make sure my mentorship was in line with not just money development, but personal development. Because at the end of the day, people get in the way of good things. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's your own feet that's in the way. So that's how I chose my mentors. I made sure they had a spiritual base.
Yeah. And Alonzo, one of the things I was saying is, I don't know if you heard this, to make sure you're checking, align yourself, talk to a couple of different people, to your point, to make sure they align properly with your value system and what you're trying to get out of the relationship that you have,
Mhm.
right? And don't be afraid to change, or if it's not working out, give them that feedback. Look, you're not getting what you need out of this. Let's talk about how we can best pivot if we need to pivot, right? So we moved into a little bit about lessons learned. Mickey, why don't you talk about your lessons learned?
So my lesson was the bigger lesson for me was for me not to listen to the voices in my head,
Mm-hmm.
because I kept telling myself that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't smart enough, I didn't have the skills. And as long as you're just hearing that, you don't ever grow.
Yeah.
And so I had to replace that with a biblical quote in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you and plans to prosper you. Right. So I
Mm.
just continue to, to know that I believe in God. So I believe that he really would never put me in a place of harm. He would always put me in a place where I can grow. Like the brother said, you know, planting that seed and watering, if I'm in the wrong place, then of course I'm not growing. And that's exactly what that was my catalyst for leaving my last job, is because I wasn't growing. I was just sitting still. And so I started just saying, you know what? I know this is not the place for me. I know this is not what God has for me. So I need to move. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to trust and believe that he's going to carry me through whatever it is. And even now, I show up as myself. So my lesson learned is to just show up as Mickey, not to try to show up as someone else, not to try to show up as, a fake Mickey just to get through. I want to
Mm-hmm.
show up as Mickey. And when I got this position, I didn't actually get this position through networking. I
Okay.
applied for it. I went for the interviews. They interviewed me. There was a panel of 13 people. I went to the final interview, and I interviewed with the owner of the company. And
Mm-hmm.
so I
Mm.
truly believe that God got me the job. And so every
Mm-hmm.
time I go in and I have challenges, I'm like, you know what? God gave me this job. He meant for
Mm-hmm.
me to be here. So, I have to keep moving forward. So that's my big lesson, is that I'm not relying on people telling me that, oh, you're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really relying on the fact that they didn't get me in that position, and God put me there for a reason. And I'm not leaving until my task is completed in the position that I'm in.
Let me tell y'all, I believe that people are brought together for a reason. Y'all are preaching tonight. Can I just say that? And it because a lot of times those of us who are Christians will tend to hide the Christianity
Mhm.
piece of who we are.
Yeah.
And, my coaching business, people know that I am a Christian, right? So I come from that space first and foremost. And that's sort of what grounds me. That is what allows me to be who I am, my authentic self. When you come to Michelle, you're getting Michelle, right? Not someone who's, to your point, Alonzo, I'm not here just for the money, right? I really do have a heart for helping people to learn and grow. And you know that. And I'm not sure who said it. It might have been you, Alonzo, but when someone is truly there to assist you because they
Mhm.
genuinely want to see you succeed,
Right.
right? And we need to align ourselves to those types of individuals, right? Now, having said that, y'all, how many of you, because and Mickey, Mickey, Tab and Alonzo, this might be more for you all, business coaches, right? Because there's one thing to understand what you think you understand about the business, but tell people how you got yourself leveled up in terms of just understanding it, because it is not for the faint of heart. Running a business is not for the faint of heart. So what were some of the things that you did to get yourself prepared?
This is when you said that, I just felt chills because running a business is definitely not for the weak. You really have to get your muscle ready for this. You have to pray. You have to, like, one of the things when my business really took off, I had to pause for 21 days. right in the
Mm.
middle of the rush of clients coming in. I took a complete pause for 21 days. I meditate, I prayed, I got real centered with God. And I said, God, if this is really where you want me to be, I need you to help me build up to be able to handle what you're bringing. So when
Mhm.
I took that pause, after I took it really light, thinking I knew it was coming, but I did not know it was coming that fast and that quick.
Mhm.
And after that happened, it just grew and grew and grew, and I got more clear and clear. And then what made it so amazing is seeing the results within the people I was working with. When I
Yeah.
seen that they were being blessed, and then their kids and their family, and it just trickles on, because you never know what you have in you that will help the next person that's helping that generation. So
Absolutely.
coming authentically. And another thing I do with my clients, they don't even know I do this. I pray for them on the back end, because I'm like,
Mhm.
sometimes when we come to a session, you may be coming to me because, hey, I need to increase my bottom line. I need more revenue. How can I strategically get there? That day, we might need to be talking about you,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes, just like Alonzo said, we get in our own way. We out here versus ourselves. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just need a listening ear. And that's
Mhm.
another thing I do. I just listen. I'm like, okay, so what are you going through today? Because I feel like we're not going to get to what's on the schedule today, but I need you to speak. I need
Yeah.
you to let it out. This is your safe space. But sometimes
Mhm.
it gets like that where we're not even talking about what's on the plan that day. We want
Yeah.
to actually get what's off of you today so that you can keep that muscle moving and you can keep growing. And whew,
Yeah.
I love
That's a
it.
sign of it, but that's a sign of a good coach,
Yeah.
Tabitha. One of the things, again, and I always remind my clients, this is not about me. This is about what you want out of the session.
Mhm.
But to be able to listen well and to be intuitive when you know the person's not showing up fully,
Mhm.
right? And to be able to pivot, that is a sign of a good coach. Alonzo, what did you do to set yourself up just from just understanding business? I think you mentioned you did set yourself up by talking to mentors, but anything else from a financial standpoint that you did?
Um, not from a financial standpoint, because the
Okay.
impetus was being laid off. So even though you kind of can see the writing on the wall when you've been through it as many times as I have, I
Okay.
didn't have a layoff fund, so
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't really
Right.
prepared for it. But what I did was I studied the mentors for each of them, probably maybe 6, 7 months before
Mm-hmm.
I went into their sessions and signed on. And they were very transparent on
Yes.
what they dealt with. And I'm watching people, because a lot of this is online. So you were watching people entering into the comments, and you're like, well, why are they even here? They're just
Mm-hmm.
disrupting the whole flow of what this guy or this young lady's trying to teach. So I'm like, okay, I got to deal with that. I'm in a spiritual base, and I'm coming into a world that just disrespects spirit. So how
Mm-hmm.
do you find the balance between me before God and me after God, and knowing when to pull from what bag
Mm-hmm.
and not lose myself and had him drag me back to who
Right.
I don't want to be no more. So I
Right.
had to study them and see how they handle that. And I found out that sometimes you have to, put them good books down and say, hey, hold up, wait a
Yeah.
minute, you
Yeah.
know, but it's
Yeah.
a balance. You don't want them to knock you off your square, but at the same time, you want them to know, hey, if you scratch me hard enough, you're going to find somebody else under there.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
had to balance that. And that was key for me, because
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to be spiritual, because that tends to be more coddling, more comforting, more empathetic with people. And people don't care.
Right.
True.
And you have to learn how to say, okay, that's it. You
Yeah.
have
Not
met
today.
a
Not
different
today.
Alonzo now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was it. Studying what they have to go through as an entrepreneur, because you have to, even as a spiritual person, you have to be willing to take much.
Mm. Mm.
You have to
That
be
tab, I hear you
willing to
saying,
take much.
mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, so much. I was at the beginning, I'm piggybacking off Alonzo. At the beginning, I was getting hit so hard when I made that decision to shift, and and so much stuff came at me. Like, I could have really quit in that moment.
Yeah.
I had got hit so hard that I felt it in my bones, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, am I supposed to go this direction?" But when you
Mhm.
push on through and you make it through, I'm telling you, the grass is green on the other side. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
you're talking a
Mhm.
little bit about pivoting, right? And there are a lot
Yeah,
of times that we
pivoting.
do need to pivot, right? I know starting my business, I initially was focusing on the life coaching because I had a full-time job, right? So for me, and I was doing coaching at work. So I was getting my feel for the professional coaching, career leadership, that kind of coaching
Mhm.
at work. So I focus a lot of what most people saw in my inner circle, which was more so the life coaching. But I started to pivot more into vocally talking about my career leadership and executive coaching, which I'm really pushing now because that is my space. That is my space. I will still do life coaching. Actually, I see this podcast as fulfilling my life coaching itch because I do talk about a variety of different topics, right? But you got to be willing to pivot and know when to pivot, right? And Tab, I heard you say a little bit about that. Alonzo, I heard you said you had to shift some things, depending on your circumstances, right? And knowing when to hang it up and knowing when to get back on the boat, right? Bandwagon. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Mickey, anything I said? You smiling? Anything
Um,
there
oh
resonated
no,
with
I'm
you?
smiling because you're right. I mean, of course, I deal with doctors, so
Mm-hmm.
just because they have MD behind their name does not mean that they are mastered. The art of being nice and kind and empathetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
so
Amen.
Uh, so I deal with them every day, and I do have to kind of just, sometimes steal away and
Yeah.
just take a breath, like Tabitha said, breathe through it. And I do have to pivot often because they want what they want when they want it. So of course that means that I'm dealing with people who are very demanding, and I have to find a way to provide them what they're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I sometimes you do have to show a different person, and I go through that often, just kind of letting them know I'm not going to put Jesus down, but I
Mm-hmm.
am going to let you know that that we don't have to go through it this way. There are other ways,
Mm-hmm.
and there are ways that you can communicate with me without being disrespectful. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Y'all, a lot of people out there have sat on their dreams, right? Year to year, like I want to do this, and they just don't step out there. What advice would you give to someone who may be a little afraid to just step out there? What advice would you give them?
Get up.
Tap, get
Get
up.
up.
Hmm.
Get up, step out, put your heels on, whatever you got to do, go do it.
Yes.
You are just like Alonzo said, because I love it when he said you versus you. You are stopping yourself. You
Yes.
have gifts, you have blessings that are not your blessings, but they are other people's blessings. And you need to be able to just step out on faith.
Hmm.
Because if you don't step out, you're going to be on your deathbed wishing you coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah. You
And you
definitely don't
don't
want
want
to
to
have
leave
any
out like
regrets.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Live life with no regrets.
Absolutely.
You said it just
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Just
Mickey, how
do
about
it.
you? Mickey, how about you?
Same. I would say get up, keep moving, don't ever stop growing.
Yeah.
We are just like plants, and if we are not watered, we're going to die. So you got to continue to replenish what you're giving out, and you're pouring yourself out to others. Make sure you're replenishing that, and you continue to learn and grow and expand on your own skills, abilities, and knowledge.
Yeah. Alonzo, how about you?
I would say for me, the main thing that got me really got the fire lit was I had read a quote that said, "If you don't take risk, you will be hired by those who do."
Mm,
Mm,
And
mm.
I said, "Okay,
Good.
okay, that's it for me.
right.
That's all I needed."
Right.
That's all I
Right.
needed. I'm from a limitless God, so how could I have limits? How could all things be
Mm.
possible through Christ except for what I want to do?
Mhm.
Right? So
Mhm.
that don't work. That don't go together. You
You
can't have
better
that kind of
preach.
thought in the same space. So
Amen. You
that
can't
was
have
enough
faith
for
and
me.
say, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Patricia Pinnick, one of my viewers, said, "Don't be afraid to fail. Failing is not trying."
Mm.
Absolutely, Patricia. Absolutely, Patricia. Well, y'all, what do you have going on post this podcast? Tab, I'll let you start first. What do you have coming up as a business owner that you want to share
So
with the
with
people?
being in business for years, I have learned to keep niching, right? So first it came in where I have great skills, but sometimes some skills get in front of others. So over
Mhm,
time in your business, you will learn how to niche more and more down. So
mhm.
what's pretty much coming is niching into a certain industry that I'm still evaluating to go towards. So that's one thing. Secondly, we are going more digital, just like you
Okay.
were saying with the podcast. This is like your itch for the coaching part, right? So we're
Mhm,
doing more consulting moving forward. We do consulting, but we are shifting from having, because we were meeting so many people, right? We can't service everyone, so we are going a little bit more digital.
mhm.
So that's
Good.
some things that's coming up for THL.
Okay. And you are a tax preparer. So if anyone needs, is that correct? I want to make sure I'm not putting something
Tax
out.
professional.
The tax professional. Okay.
Yes.
I won't put something out in the atmosphere that you're not doing. So
No, you're fine.
are you taking new clients?
We are definitely taking in new clients, more than likely businesses that need to trans I would say transition more into a corp. So if you're in that level of your business, then we would love to talk to you.
Okay. All right. Alonzo, I know you have your website up. Anything else you got going on?
No particular events right now. I
Mhm.
will say that anyone that wants to go on the website and take a look and see what's there, if you see something that kind of grabs your heartstrings, I have a discount going from now until 11:30 tomorrow evening. If you go on there and you see a hoodie or a crew neck like I have on, all they have to do is put in Biggs, BIGGS 20 and get that 20%.
Okay. All
Let me
right.
write that
Thank you,
down.
brother. Let me go in and get myself another t-shirt. And y'all, I will post this. I will post it this evening because I want people to take advantage of your information. So I will share the information for Tab's business as well as Alonzo's business. So if you want to take advantage of their services, you can do that. But y'all, thank you so much. I'm amazed at how these podcast live streams go. Because as you all know, and my audience who's been following me, I do these live off the cuff. I don't pre-record. I just like the live interaction. So anything can go, like Alonzo going in and out. But I just prefer the lives. That's just for me. Um, for me, because I like the engagement and the interaction. And as my guests know, I don't ask y'all for your answers beforehand because I really want it to be a conversation. So I appreciate you all for bringing your whole self to this podcast. I've heard quite a bit of nuggets coming from you, and I'm gonna put you in the green room while I sign off. So go back into the green room so I can chat with y'all. And y'all, I'm truly feel truly blessed to have so many people in my inner circle who are doing great things, and they just have stories that I know will resonate with so many people. And so I'm blessed. And if you have not been following me, go ahead and follow me. I have a business Facebook page. The information is listed at the bottom of this screen. I also have a website. If you're interested in coaching, go ahead and check out my website. I have testimonials on my website. As Tab and Mickey stated, they came to me for career coaching, but as I said, I do executive coaching and leadership coaching as well. And for those of you who need a little life coaching, I could do that as well. And I explain all of that, what that entails on the website. Next up for um, Real Conversations with Michelle. I'm going to continue this JumpStart series. I'm going to shift it a little bit, and we'll be talking about fitness and health. And the reason I decided to do this Jumpstart series, y'all, because at the beginning of each year, we all come in strong, wanting to do focus on things to better ourselves, whether it's our health, whether it's living your dreams, whether it's paying more attention to your finances. So over the course of the next 2 months, I'll be having some topics covering those things. So tune in, like my business page, and you'll see the updates of when I do decide to live stream. And I try to do these monthly, but this was so close to my last session. The topic was really a part 2 to living your dreams. I did these 2 back to back. But be blessed. Happy Friday Eve and enjoy your weekend, you guys. Okay? Take care.
Bye.